Hello, Pokemon fans the world over. Welcome to the Pokemon Trading Card Game Regional Championships for the 2023 season here in Liverpool. I'm Freya Pierce, and I'm delighted to be joined by the legendary Shay Burton. How are you doing, Shay?
I am ecstatic to be here in the casting desk with you for first time, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be an exciting regional here today, sort of towards the end of this format, meaning, you know, decks, they've been made really well, optimized super well. So it's going to be intriguing to see what actually takes it home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the interesting things about this regional. We've had this format for a while now. It's the same format that we had the LAIC in, which is all the way back at the end of November, and yet we're still in this format now. And what's really interesting about these more, what you say, like mature formats is that, yeah, they are more developed, so you kind of, you have more of an idea of what to expect, but it also means that someone can take that well-developed meta and sometimes come in with a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, like we've been seeing a little bit of innovation with Lost Box recently, you know, Dragonite V coming in. You know, so which is something we never considered in a Lugia. I've been seeing some spice going around the tables, let me tell you about that. We've been seeing, you know, the Raikou and the Rayquaza in Lost Box as well,
yeah,
popularized by Stablemon. So much stuff going on. I think even though it's a mature old format, I still think there is room for some surprises.
Yeah, I mean we've already seen that happen, right? We've seen, you know, surprise victories from, you know, things like Vikavolt, Aerodactyl V-Star, all these like different sort of supporting Pokemon and sort of main focus attackers that you wouldn't necessarily expect. So, although I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something that's well established and, you know, already well known win, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw yet another surprise either.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's already like not even 9 a.m. here, but I'm going to go a little hot take out here for everyone at home. I think there's going to be some spice in this top 8 with some crazy card counts that no one's even considered. That's what I think is going to happen.
So no one's even considered. So I would ask you then, do you know what it would be, or is it something that even you've not considered maybe?
No, not even something I've considered. Because the thing is, there are some big brain people here, and unfortunately, I'm not one of them. So, so they're going to be thinking of stuff much bigger than I could.
So don't sell yourself short. You know, we've seen your concoctions online. I'm sure everyone's been, you know, very. So some of the stuff you come up with, honestly, you know, is an absolute joy to watch.
Sometimes we strike gold. When you build enough decks, sometimes they're going to be good. Speaking of building decks, if you were here, Freya, if you were playing, what would you have played?
So I would have probably played Lugia, mainly because it's going to sound really silly, but Lugia's always been one of my favorite Pokemon. And the fact it's actually like a top tier contender is, you know, and I have the chance to play it at a tournament would be really nice. And the only reason why I didn't play it when I was playing in Stuttgart was because I couldn't get them in time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
So I ended up playing Lost Box for that. So yeah, I'd probably play some variant of Lugia today if I were playing. Just I guess it's a bit of a safe choice as well.
Yeah.
It's you know if you go into a tournament playing it, you're probably going to have a pretty decent chance at making points.
Yeah, there's not many matchups with Lugia where your opponent can flip over a card and you think, I've got no way of winning this, which is always nice when you play a deck. I think I would be on either Mew, if everyone expects to hear that, or maybe Arceus Duraludon. I've been quite enjoying playing that recently. That skyscraper ability, you know, just stopping damage, just saying, hold up a sec there. You can't hurt me for a second.
Yes.
Let me just G-Max Pulverization you in the meantime. I've been quite enjoying it.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about Arceus Duraludon is that it's a very straightforward deck, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes when you hear that, you think, oh, that means it doesn't have many options. And that is true, but it also means that it's harder to mess up with. So it's likely to misplay over the course of the day, and maybe that can be like the more important factor when you're going to especially such a long tournament like this one.
No, exactly. I say this all the time when I'm testing out. Sometimes, like, I just want an easy win where I don't really have to think too much. I just let the cards do the, and if I let the cards do the work. Sometimes with Arceus, you just have an Arceus in your opening hand with an energy and a Dorado on the bench. You're golden. We don't have to be, you know, flinging Archeopsis away or, you know, getting 10 cards in the loss zone. We just relax a little bit. And I think, like you said, over the course, like, you know, 9, 15 rounds, sometimes you just want some easy wins. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Also, this tournament's going to be no exception to sort of the long day players are going to have to be facing. We have over 750 players today in Masters, so it's going to be, as it has been the trend for so many of these recent regionals, it's going to be a slog for these players.
Yeah, just those numbers increasing up and up and up. And I remember when I first started going to regionals here in Europe, you'd be getting like maybe 300 masters.
Even less sometimes, right?
Sometimes even less. And now that's doubled over the course, which is great to see. You know, the player base is growing and people getting involved with the competitive scene, which is things I love to see.
Yes, same here. I think even compared to the last Liverpool Regionals, I don't know if it's like quite double that we've had, but I think we have a lot more people at this Liverpool Regionals than we do compared to the last Liverpool Regionals that happened last season.
Yeah, and that wasn't even 12 months ago.
No,
I think.
no.
That was only like 10 or 9 months even. So just the things you love to see. Player base getting bigger, you know, new eyes, new brains on the game, and that's how we see some of these crazy concoctions. Like we've seen plenty of people who at their first regionals, you know, doing really well. Like the top 40 EYC Matusk did really well. It's coming out of nowhere, and that's why I'm excited. And all this new spice and things can come. Just enjoyable.
Yeah, and being sort of in the UK as well, I'm sort of thinking of UK players to watch out for. I know sort of a collaborator of yours, Dimitri Eaton. He's currently the highest ranking UK player on championship points, and he's had a few decent point finishes this season, enough to get into quite high up in the championship point rankings. But I don't think he's had a really big finish at regionals this season yet.
No, not since the season restart. He had obviously his top 4 at Bremen.
Yeah.
Then top 4 at the Open as well. Oh, top 8 Bremen, I should say, and then top 4 at the Opens if you count that as this season.
Yeah.
But I know he's been testing a lot. He just eats, sleeps, and drinks Pokemon Eater, so he's been testing a lot, and he could be a definite player to watch out for as well. Fingers crossed. Well done.
Yes, absolutely. So it's so cool to see how, like we said, how big the game has gotten already, and I mean, something that I've also noticed over, like you're saying with like Mateus, right, at the last regionals, it seems like this has been the season for both the old stars and like the up-and-coming stars to actually both have a chance to show what they're made of. And like we've seen a lot in like finals here, players that you wouldn't have necessarily known before making it all the way to the finals and even winning.
Yeah, no, that's the great thing about it. You know, the TCG online, you can play online. People are just testing and coming up with these crazy things. And honestly, now, like, you could sit across the table from anyone, and you don't know how long they've been playing the game or what sort of testing they've done, and you can genuinely lose to anyone. It's just so refreshing to see, and I think that's where some of these new ideas have been coming in, like you said, with the Vikavolt coming in, Aerodactyl getting used quite a lot as well. You know, fresh eyes on the game. You can just see the game in different ways, and you know, look at certain cards and think that's pretty good actually. Yeah. So it's exciting.
Now, there is one name that I think we all need to be on the lookout for, as we do every tournament, Tord Reklev.
Oh, yes.
Like, hot off the heels of a win in Brazil at Latin American Championships, now having won every single international championships that exists in every corner of the globe, and also having recently finished in the points for 2 tournaments over in the US.
Yeah.
Is he going to be clamoring for another regionals win here?
Oh, I think anytime Tord turns up at a Pokemon event, he's looking for the win, right? Like, you know, a player that has a good case of being regarded as the best Pokemon player of all time. That would be probably the scariest person, I believe. If you check your parents and you see you're playing against Tord, you're thinking, oh my goodness, we're in for a long, hard game. Have you ever played Tord?
So, yes, actually. I've played against him, I think either twice or maybe 3 times.
Oh, wow.
He was my first... He was the first person I played against day 2 of Worlds in 2016.
Right, okay.
And he was my one tie. He was playing Zygarde Vileplume, if I remember.
Zygarde Vileplume,
wow. And I was playing Night March. Yeah, that ended up a tie. And then we ID'd into top cuts at a League Cup in Leipzig once as well. It's like the League Cup that was part of the, the side event for the tournament. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I've luckily never got to play Tord. I have sat next to him a couple times. Little regionals, we're both 0-2, and I'm thinking, Tord, I'm 0-2, I shouldn't be seeing you next to me. How's that happen then?
Yeah, I think that wasn't the best tournament for him, as I recall.
No, yeah. Even the best have to flub one sometimes, I guess.
But I do believe we have the players ready at the table, so we are ready to get into this first round feature match. And we don't quite have word on who we're featuring yet, but I'm sure we'll see them soon and be able to give them all the introduction they deserve.
Yeah, of course. And leave it in the chat, guys, players you want to see. You know, leave some suggestions. We do have eyes on the stream, so we can have a look and see what we can maneuver. So it looks like we've got Alex Dow, fellow caster, all-round top bloke as well. I'm not 100% sure who he's facing, though. Let's have a Let's have a gander, but we all know Alex. Marlon Smith play Palkia V-Star. Not a card we see too often, but I know it's a card that one of the other casters here, Mike, loves a bit of Palkia. We were getting that played yesterday. A sort of deck, you know, widely regarded as the best deck in the format a couple formats ago. Sort of fallen off. It doesn't have the greatest Lugia matchup, but, you know, here we go. Marlon running the gambit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Palkia, you could say, is like one of the stars of the previous formats, and it's kind of still stuck around in like some shape or form ever since Lugia came out. Even though Lugia has kind of knocked Palkia off the pedestal a little bit, but it's still a very, very solid choice. And it's like Marlon is going to be, you know, going with all reliable here.
Yeah, no, and the really interesting thing is, like you said, Palkia had to sort of adapt, right? Like we saw it in Toronto, I believe, was the first tournament we saw the Articuno version sort of get debuted, as it were. So Palkia had to sort of adjust. We've even seen it with Vikavolt recently as well. So I'm intrigued to see what Marlon's list is here. I'm trying to get it up for you now. Bear with me. But it's going to be really interesting to see, because at face value, Palkia is a really strong card. 280 HP, really high damage cap, can accelerate energy. It is by no means a bad card.
No, not at all. And that strength has still led it to have some, you know, decent finishes still at recent tournaments, even with Lugia coming out. But all the same, Lugia it has really been like the star of the current format. Alex going sort of perhaps same logic as I was mentioning earlier, going for the most reliable and most well-known option for the Silver Tempest format, and sticking with those guns.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see. Just trying to get the list up here for you guys. Bear with me. So you mentioned that you would be playing Lugia.
Yes.
Freya. Would you be playing stuff like the amazing rare Raikau?
So that's the whole thing about Lugia, right? You kind of cater the list to however you sort of you use the tech attackers that you think would be the best for the metagame that's upcoming. And I think the main thing you need to probably worry about is some way to deal with Aerodactyl V-Star. Of course, with that ability that once it's used, shuts off the abilities of other V Pokemon and makes it so that you can't use your Summoning Star or anything like that. And that's going to be like the main concern. But I don't really know how best you might necessarily deal with that. And also we have the list up now, and I don't see an obvious way for Marlon to deal with the Aerodactyl essentially.
Yeah, so now we have the list up. Marlon's list here is sort of like a halfway house. So we have a 2-2 Palkia V-Star, so, you know, strong. We do see a Drapion from you, probably won't be seeing that here. But we do see some interesting tech options. One of the main ones being the Alolan Vulpix V-Star. Not a card we see too often, but in the right circumstances can prove troublesome. With that Snow Mirage attack for 3 energy, 160 damage. It goes through all effects on your opponent's active, never a bad thing. But then also, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon that have an ability. Meaning, you know, if a Pokemon has an ability, it can't actually hit the Vulpix. Yeah,
Alolan Vulpix V-Star is one that I've surprised hasn't seen more experimentation, I guess, because it does have this very both an attack that's solid at walling and also can punch through other walls, so it can't be walled itself. So this, I guess, will be a chance to see it in action and see can it, you know, just wall off Alex's attackers, because most of Alex's attackers actually do have abilities. Lugia has an ability, Arceus has an ability, Charizard has an ability, so you're kind of stuck attacking with either, like, you know, maybe Stoutland or Raikou or amazing rare Yveltal.
Yeah, 100%. And if Marlon can sort of navigate those amazing rares out the way, and the Stoutland as well, could be on for a winner. Marlon also does have some extra spice, though. We do see the one copy of the Iskew, that block-faced attack, making it immune to damage done by basic Pokemon, you know, really good in combination with Wash Energy for Lost Box matchups. And we also do see the one copy of the Articuno with that attack that paralyzes your opponent's active and does 60 damage to itself, I believe. Barry was loading that up. With the one copy of Emergency Jelly as well, so you can try and, you know, reuse the Articuno as often as possible.
This was like the Lugia answer that we saw coming straight after LAIC, right? We saw a bunch of people like playing this combination, and just being able to use Wild Freeze to paralyze Lugia, which is a deck that doesn't tend to play many switching cards.
No, I mean, looking at Alex's, doesn't play any switching cards, but just looking to rely on paying retreat. So we could see the Articuno, it does do 50 damage to itself there, so a little correction. So you can attack with it twice, then, you know, scoop up net Emergency Jelly. And Marlon actually does play one copy of Thornton as well. Not a card you see every day, but letting you swap a basic Pokemon out of the basic Pokemon from the discard pile, I believe. Letting you reuse, you know, some of your one-off attackers. Swaps a basic with a basic. So Very interesting card to see.
Also, it's also a way of sort of sneaking out a Palkia in a way. Say if you don't get a Palkia V-Star at turn 1, you can put one in a discard, Thornton another base that you have out for the Palkia, and then still be able to evolve it, because of course it retains that being in play for a turn, and you can still evolve it after doing the Thornton.
So yeah, I'm actually really intrigued to see how this matchup is going to go, because like we were alluding to before, Palkia was one of the best decks in the format, right? And then it sort of lost a lot of play because the Lugia matchup wasn't too convincing. You know, Lugia can just one-shot 2 Palkia V-Stars very easily, and having auxiliary attackers like Yvettal, or even Raikau hitting a Palkia for weakness is kind of terrible. So Marlon's list, trying to have some answers and ask some questions for Lugia deck, and now we're going to see, is that going to be enough?
Yeah, although we do see that, Alex has opted to play the one-off Birdkeeper. This is like a tech that we saw some Lugia players start to try and include to sort of counteract some of these like paralysis decks, and I think that was going to be a vital include and vital piece for Alex to find over the course of the game if that Wild Freeze does go off from the Articuno.
And we've got some interesting cards in Alex's list here. Something we don't see all the time. 2 copies of Cancelling Cologne. Really good at help dealing with the Duraludon matchup. It's an item card that lets you turn off your opponent's ability whatever's in the active, meaning you can just hit through Skyscraper. So, like I was alluding to earlier, Arceus Duraludon's really good against Lugia. If you're Cancelling Cologne, it's not. And we also see the one-off Reggie Gigas as well, which is something I love to see. That Gigaton break attack, 150 plus 150 if you're hitting into a VMAX Pokemon. Really good at just dealing with, Muse, and in combination with Cancelling Clone, you can actually start to threaten Duraludons in one hit, which is terrifying.
Well, you can. I mean, all you have to do is use Primal Turbo, whack on some powerful color tendencies, right, and you get there. Yeah. So very, very clever includes there from Alex. Not going to necessarily be relevant in this matchup, but I'm sure over the course of the day he's going to find it comes in very handy.
Yeah. And so what sort of stuff are we seeing? So obviously all these includes have to be they have to be space made. So cards we're not seeing in Alex's list. Not seeing any copies of Choice Belt. So that could
that's true, actually.
So that could be relevant, hitting into high HP Pokemon like a Palkia or Muse over the course of the day. Choice Belt's a nice card to have. And I think that might be the only obvious super include, minus, I should say. 3 copies of Research, I think that's fairly normal.
It's very interesting to know something that has been you kind of seen in terms of like trends over the course of the format is balancing counts of Serena versus Boss's orders. Yeah. First we saw favor more towards the Serena because generally speaking you want to bring up V's and it's a card that can draw you cards if you can't bring anything up. But as the format has progressed and there's been more single prize threats going on, we've seen more and more the ratio kind of flip flop back to Boss's orders, and we see that here with the 3 Boss's orders to 1 Serena ratio for Alex.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, like you said. The Boss's order is really good in Mirror, really good against Lost Box or taking out Greninjas. And Serena, like I said, it started off as more of a 2-2 count. But here we go. That's what we are getting started. Marlon is starting something these Inteleon decks with a VIP battle pass as well. Something these Inteleon decks love to do is go first. You can flood the board, Sobbles, or Alolan Vulpix even if you want to try and get into that at a faster rate. Things you love to see from Marlon. That's definitely the first step of the puzzle, I think.
Yeah, so Marlon is playing like the full 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass, wanting to see it turn 1 as often as possible, so they will be able to go through their deck and, start, as you said, flooding the board with their setup, the Sobbles, and go for the shady dealings over the next few turns.
It looks like Marlon hasn't got a card in his lost zone now. I'm not 100% sure. I think that might be an error. There is no cards in the lost zone yet. No, I believe. But opening VIP Battle Pass with a Palkia deck is just so nice, right? Let's look at some prize cards though. So looks like Marlon has prized 1 copy of Articuno actually.
Oh.
Do they play a heavy ball? Oh, okay. They do play 1 heavy ball, but that's something. It can get awkward though if you're having to try and skew your game plan to try and find the heavy ball, right?
Yeah, I think the one thing that helps in this particular instance is that you're playing a deck that inherently searches a lot of items, right? You're playing the 4 Iridas, you're playing the Shady Dealings Inteleon line, so I think finding the heavy ball won't be too much of a problem. As you see, that is a very golden hand. My goodness, I just noticed.
I think it was golden, but I don't think I saw a terrible amount of playable cards, though.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we just see the parts. I think there's a lot of evolutions.
Oh, dear.
We see an Inteleon. I think we saw a Palkia V-Star. And I think that concludes Marlon's turn here. So, let's look at Alex's prizes while he starts his turn. 1 boss, 1 copy of Serena's prized. A Luminion. I think he does play 2, though. Evolution Incense, Archeops, and a Lugia. So not the worst prize cards. I'd be more concerned about seeing the Evolution Incense in combination with the Lugia as well.
Yeah, I think we really want to go and see what Alex is doing here, just to getting his initial setup going. It's kind of hard to see what's going on right now. We see he's searching through the deck as we see he starts off with a quick ball. Oh, he's got the turn 1 Archeops discard. That's absolutely ideal.
Yeah. So I think obviously you said you would be playing Lugia. Freya, what are the sort of things a Lugia player? What's the priorities you want to do on turn 1?
So the priority is it actually depends a lot on whether you're going first or second. So there's a couple of things going on here. So going second, you want to get a second Lugia down more often than not because you worried about your one Lugia getting KO'd. If you don't have a Lugia out for your turn 2, you can't do Summoning Star, you can't execute your strategy. It's all going to go wrong, right? So going second, that's what Alex has to be thinking about. Whether you're going first or second, the other main thing you want to worry about is getting those Archeopses in the discard pile.
Yeah. So then you can try and fling them straight into play next turn with a Summoning Star, right?
Yes, exactly. And if you can get to 2 in the discard turn 1, that's obviously absolutely ideal. Then next turn, all you have to worry about is getting out that Lugia V-Star, and you're good to go. But even if you get at least just 1 in the discard, then maybe you can find one next turn, or like worst comes to worst, you Summoning Star one of them out. But sometimes you can still work with that. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. I've actually played against Lugia quite a lot in testing, and you think it's a death wish if they have to Summoning Star for 1, but you can sort of maneuver around if your opponent's not really applying enough pressure. Attaching 2 special energy from the deck is still rather good.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay, very important to note something here. Alex has just had to, discard the Bird Keeper off the Aurora energy.
Yes, you are correct.
Oof. There's no way in Alex's deck for him to get back supporters, so this means that he's not going to have that out against the Articuno once that comes into effect.
Well, I mean, Alex might be a bit worried about that, but I guess he doesn't know that Marlon has prized Articuno, so a few little wrinkles already, only a couple turns into the game, and we're already seeing some, counters to the counters and interesting wrinkles. And it looks like we just see Amani and... Was there a read the win there?
No, it was just a pass, it looks like, actually.
Okay.
So maybe there's...
really good hand.
Yeah, Alex not wanting to get rid of anything in his hand currently. Although I imagine if there was an Archeops, you probably would have gone for read the win straight away, right? So yeah, I can't imagine anything in there looking at seeing what he has. Meanwhile, over to Marlon's side, we do see the Capacious Bucket. Of course, this is the vital item that has made the Palkia deck so good. Just getting 2 basic water energy out of the deck and putting them into your hand on an item card, so strong. Yeah,
it means you can all your shady dealings turn into potential energy cards, right? Which gets even more crazy when you start coming with cards like Irida, a card we haven't seen in a long time, realistically, but letting you search a water-type Pokemon and an item at the same time. Anyone that's been playing a long time, that sounds familiar. Karina back in the day. Except now you have shady dealings, and honestly, turns can get a little bit crazy with Irida, right?
Yeah, and I think Alex might have helped Marlon a little bit because we did see like that last hand wasn't that great. So, but off the Marnie, finding the Irida is going to be pretty happy about that, as they do go for a Radiant Greninja and a Level Ball. I imagine this is going to be for a Drizzile to do shady dealings and grab another trainer from the deck.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder, Mylon definitely seemed to prioritise the Alolan Vulpix there, getting out with the VIP Battle Pass. I wonder, because obviously in combination with Star Portal, you can get attacking with any attacker in Palkia fairly easily. Do you reckon Mylon will be trying to prioritise the Vulpix? Would you be prioritising the Vulpix in this scenario?
I mean, possibly, right, because if Alex wants to attack, he kind of has to attack with something with an ability. So if Marlon can get the Vulpix out, it means that Alex is going to have a bit of a harder time punching through, because cancelling Cologne, it only negates abilities. It doesn't negate effective attacks. So you wouldn't be able to use that to get through the Vulpix.
Yeah, and then at that point, you're really forcing Lugia to then, not only attack with something without an ability, but you have to actually maneuver out the active as well. We've seen the Bird Keeper being used, and as strong as Lugia is, it's not the sort of deck where you can, piece together a long combo like with an Inteleon deck, right?
No, so you have a limited amount of, because you have to get rid of your own energy, discard them to retreat every time you want to switch out Pokemon. You're limited in the amount of times you can do that, for sure. We do see that a concealed cards, discarding water energy, getting 2 from the deck. Another Battle VIP pass, not going to be very useful right now, but can at least be easy discard fodder. We do know that Marlon has the Origin Form Palkia V-Star in hand at the very least, or at least I think I saw it.
I think he took it off an Irida, I believe. Yeah. So this is interesting. It looks like Marlon hasn't got the greatest of hands here. They're sort of slowed down. We see a Scoop point, or might be able to reuse the cards.
Of course, I mean, we know that there's energy in hand, right, because they got 2 off the bucket. So scooping that on the Radiant Greninja, put it back down, conceal cards one more time, drawing another 2 cards.
Choice Bell, I think I see a Palk V-Star as a VIP. It's interesting. If you attack with the Palkia, it's kind of risky because, like we said, Palkia used to be super bulky back in the day, 280, but Lugia has no issues getting to 280 damage at all. That is not a hard number.
No, all you need is 3 powerful colors, energy, and you're there with the Tempest Dive. And
wow.
oh, we're going to see another one.
Concealed cards. Yeah, here we go. So that's going to be what, at least 3 copies of basic energy in the discard pile. So Star Portal's live now.
Yeah, exactly. And this is double. Yeah, this is double benefit, right? Because there's extra cards drawn, and it also means that Marlon has enough energy and discard guaranteed to be able to take maximum value from that Star Portal attack. And as mentioned earlier, the Battle VIP pass is the easy discard fodder for that quick ball. As Marlon will want to find another attacker of some sort, just maybe even find another Sobble, just so again you have access to Shady Dealings next turn.
See that? I think one sort of problem here, if Marlon wants to swing at the subspace well, because they played Irida, they're going to have to have used Star Portal.
Yes.
Which means without using Star Portal to power key, it means Alolan Vulpix comes infinitely harder to set up at that point because they're not playing DTE in this list, so they can't go right-hand DTE. So it's a really interesting scenario. Do you just go for this subspace well here, just get damage in play, or do you try and hold off and maybe try and attack with Alolan Vulpix later? Because it looks like the way Marlon's playing, they probably haven't got the resources to switch and start attacking with the Alolan Vulpix V-Star.
No, probably not. It's a little bit of a tricky one. It's actually very interesting to know. I don't think Marlon's playing any Melanie.
No, no Melanie either. They play 2 copies of Royhand to burst energy, So look at the hand nest. What we see, a choice belt, 2 copies of basic energy, I believe. I don't think that hand facilitates a Vulpix attack for sure.
No, it might have to be just Star Portal to just do the subspace well. Manual attachment onto the Vulpix, it looks like, and then, going to have to be Star Portal just to attach to probably 1 to the Vulpix and 2 to the active.
2 to the active, So I guess it's not too bad, actually, managing to get a lot of energies into play. Put some damage on this Lugia.
Yeah. Oh, and actually going to attach to the other Palkia.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So maybe Marlon thinking that the Vulpix is not worth considering right now and just going to opt to go aggro with the damage with the Palkia V-Star instead. No, Alex has played this very cleverly. He's limited his bench enough to the point where even if Marlon had a full bench, I don't think there was ever a way to KO this Lugia V.
No, I think you're correct. Wow, okay, that that is hard to see how much damage is on there. So we've got 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, so I'm guessing that's 160.
Yeah, it's 160. I mean, it makes sense, right? 20 times 5 is 100, 100 at 60. Such a one of the easier Palkia maths we've seen.
No, yeah, you are correct. Just little old me, I take it nice and slow, you know what I mean? Still early in the morning, Freya.
It's all good, it's all good.
Okay, so flinging it back over to Alex. What is this ideal turn 2 looking like, Freya?
So, looks like it has Evolution Incense, and you got Lugia Vista off of that, and then end up going for an Ultra Ball, discarding a Regigigas and the Collapse Stadium. Regigigas not an attacker that he'll be needing in this matchup, so that makes complete sense. And he's going for the Archeops here, so I can only imagine there must be like another discard out in hands to discard the Archeops, and he will be getting the ideal turn 2 double summoning star summoning star for both of the Archeops. And there is Quick Ball as well. So Alex's turn 2 has been pretty much as ideal as you can ask for.
I guess one thing for Alex is that this Lugia has taken damage. So in an ideal world, he'd like to try and get down another attacker. Maybe that is it there, the Yveltal. As that would go through the Alolan Vulpix if that comes out at any point. Amazing Destruction just says, no, I've not got an ability, and you are now KO'd.
Yeah, although that does make me think, because in that case you probably don't mind attacking with the Lugia in the active, right? Because you can just go ahead and attach 3 powerful colors energies to this and get the knockout, and even if you get knocked out back, you're still 2 prizes ahead, and then you come in with the Yveltal as well. Yeah,
one dangerous thing about the Yveltal I find is that your opponent has to deal with it. They have to take that prize because the main destruction doesn't discard energy. It hasn't got any other text. If you let that Yveltal hang around, it's just going to attack again. And you can't let 2 of your Pokemon just get auto-KO'd, right?
It's one of the reasons that it's one of the key attackers in Lugia for that reason. It's like you said, you have to deal with it. It's a threat you simply cannot ignore, unless I guess you're going for like 2 prizes to win the game. But other than that, you have to deal with the Yveltal, otherwise it's just going to completely tear through you. Yeah,
and that's one thing I think about Lugia, which is sort of an underrated aspect of it, is that Lugia can play 1 prize. As soon as that first Lugia goes down, in theory, you can just go Charizard, Yveltal, Raikou, any of those business, and just go 1 prize for the longest of times, right?
And especially with Luminion as well, because usually you do benchmark to set up, but of course Luminion has that Aqua return attack, so it has that built-in protection to send itself back into the deck and do 120 damage, which is a good setup number anyway. So, and then you can just, like you said, leave your board with just single prize Pokemon.
And then Primal Turbo allowing you to just cheat energies out the deck, making these like otherwise awkward attacks like Amazing Destruction or Amazing Shot off the Raikau, making them super usable. And obviously these attacks gets balanced with the fact that the energy cost is so high and it's really hard to use. But Archeops just says, no. Feel free to just do whatever you like.
Free energies, 3 different types, no problem.
No worries about that. You can do what you like.
Yes. And now, Alex, important to note here, actually did go for another Evolution Incense, found another Archeops, just guarding with a quick ball. Now, obviously, he can't get out any more Archeopses. The Summoning Star has been used at this point, but he's just making sure that he gets the useless cards out of the deck. He wants to make sure that in the event of any kind of disruption, his deck is only full of useful cards that actually help him win the game, and that's a very important key skill to remember when especially when you're at these competitive events.
Yeah. Alex Dow, fantastic player. Many, I think he's trying to say, have you cut the deck? Because he wants to Oranguru that to the top, I think.
Right.
Have you cut it? Cause just to make sure.
Yes.
That's what I believe is happening there.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Primate Wisdom, swapping a card in the hand with the top card of the deck and finding an Ultra Ball off of that. You're only going to go
even get some manual attachment on the Yveltal here as well. And there we go. And this is looking really good for us. One thing I've just remembered is that Marlon does play a mana free, but Raikau has free reign here as well. When it's hitting stuff for weakness, we could see, 2 prize cards get taken with Yveltal, and then 2 prize cards with Raikau even. Or even Stoutland can come in if it catches a Sobolev card, right?
Yeah.
Alex has a lot of options.
Yeah, he really does. And Marlon not left with much right now, and I think equally, I think the reason why Marlon might have considered going for the Palkia instead of the Lone Vulpix V-Star is because they know that the attack cost is a lot easier to sort of work with. And they can always be like a right hand later on, and they know that if they send up the Lone Vulpix too early, Yveltal will just come in and deal with it, and they want to make sure that when they send up the Lone Vulpix V-Star, it is an actual wall that Alex won't be able to get past.
No, 100%. And I think you're right, because at the end of the day, that Lone Vulpix stage 1, 3 energy, it's not the easiest thing in the world to work with, and especially when you've only got 1 Drizzle down, which means you don't have access to 1 Shady Dealing. Might not be the easiest thing in the world to set up, so I think Marlon just thinking, like you said, subspace wall, easier attack, 2 energy. Let's just try and close the game out with that.
Yeah, and with Alex's bench now being full, Marlon should have a fairly easy time getting enough on the bench to just take the KO on this Lugia. Just both benches full will be 260 damage, and given that the Lugia's already been softened up, that will be enough. But Marlon does need to find another Palkia V-Star, and I don't know if they have one in hand yet, actually.
No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, I think they have a copy of basic energy from the Capacious Bucket, so they at the very least always have a concealed cards available to them.
They only actually managed to find 1 in the deck. I mean,
was it just 1?
Yeah, so Marlon's only playing 6 basic water energies. It's a bit of like a lower count, as we've seen in kind of the trend go for these kinds of decks. Although there is the Hisuian Heavy Ball, so Marlon will be able to now find that Articuno if they so desired. I imagine that's probably what they're going to go for.
I think you always take it, right?
Yeah.
And this could be a bit dicey for Marlon then here. Like you said, only got 1 Shady Dealings at hand. I'm not sure if they have an Evolution instance or any way to search it from the hand. I haven't seen one yet, so... and there go the prize cards back. Thought one could have been a bit useful there, but... And he's actually prized 1 copy of Ryan as well, I've just realised, so that means only 1 copy in the deck.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So let's see. What's it? So I see 1 basic energy, at the very least. Is he going to conceal cards? That's a risk, though.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah, but Marlon is going for it. So
you have to.
Cards.
Here we go. Marlon taking the risk. Let's see what we. I see.
There's another engine in hand.
There's a Shady Dealings Intelli on there as well.
Okay.
So I have to imagine Marlon can get to work. That Shady Dealings engine. What an incredible engine, right?
It's so weird that, over the recent times it has seen so much less play, because I don't think it's gone any less strong, but it seems like other decks have kind of outpowered it, and so that's why it's kind of ended up creeping out of the format. But the ability to search as many trainings as it does, and your entire evolution line being useful, and even the attacks on the final stages being decent as well, it's such a powerful engine. Yeah,
especially in a deck like this, like you said, we can utilise the Aqua Bullet as well, and even having the 4 key evolution I've used in the quick shooting as well, right? Letting you, if you want to, math fix a little bit, which is how we saw the initial Articuno list go, right? I think I had 2 copies of quick shoot, and you really try and utilise the paralysis so where your opponent can't get a turn in. Super strong engine, and it's like Marlon has now successfully found their Palkia V-Star, and they got a Raihan off that Shady Dealings as well.
Yeah, it was Shady Dealings off of the Intellion for the Evolution Incense and the Raihan, so we'll be able to evolve now, and it hasn't played a support yet either, so we'll be able to go for the Raihan as well, given that they did just get KO'd with the other Palkia.
But how are you feeling about this, though? Because, Wash Energy is huge, right? That stops the Yveltal.
It does stop effective attacks. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
wow, what a find. So I was about to say, Marlon's in a, I wouldn't say suspect position, but, you have to assume that the Palkia would just immediately get responded by the Yveltal. But now, again, a little bit of a chess match, a little counter to the Yveltal. And now Alex now has to find another attacker, because you can't really be using Yveltal at this point. And was that, okay, I thought it was a concession. Then I was like, Alex, it's not over yet.
Yeah, that's a very strong find from Marlon. Yeah, of course, that Wash Energy has now changed, absolutely, completely changed everything. And Alex is still sending up the Yveltal. Does he have something in mind?
Maybe a boss or Serena just to KO the Vulpix, and then just try and maneuver around this Palkia with a Lugia or something. Maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
What do we see in a hand? We see an Archeops, V-Star, Capture, and Aurora. I think there was some support. I couldn't quite make it out though, unfortunately, but.
I mean, one consideration could have been maybe you could put attack with the Alone and Vulpix V-Star, put the Wash Energy on that, and then you kind of rolling everything, right?
Yeah, no, that would have been interesting as well. Maybe Marlon couldn't get the Palkia out of the active for that, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe not.
I think the concealed cards found them the shady dealings. But here we go. We see a Primal Turbo. This will probably help us see what Alex plans to do here. You have to imagine trying to go around this Palkia, or using a different attacker, maybe like a Charizard or something like this. It looks like he's taking Aurora, and was that DTE, I believe?
Yes, and although maybe not, changing his mind a little bit. I think he wants to make sure that he gets this right, the Aurora coming back out. And, yeah, you got to think he's got to be, doing thinking about boss orders or something like this, because if you're powering up the Yveltal, you can't get through this Wash Energy, unfortunately.
No, there is no special energy removal from Alex's deck, so there is no like Fan of Waves or anything like this, or Plumeria was well long ago. I was talking about that one.
I don't think that's standard legal anymore.
What was I thinking of? Not through area, I apologise. But yeah, no, there is none of that. So you have to imagine, there was one card I couldn't make out in Alex's hand. It must have been a boss, right? I'm not sure.
No?
I'm not 100% sure. We haven't missed anything here. Wash Energy does stop amazing.
Yeah, Aurora discarding the other Archeops. I believe that's now all 4 Archeops in the discard pile. He's doing some maths. And
second Primal Turbo by the looks of it.
Yep. Going to be, I imagine, probably powering up the Luminion. That's not something you really want to keep out in the field. You want to do Aqua Return on that as soon as you can, just to get that 2-prizer out of harm's way. Otherwise, Marlon could easily pick that off at some point later on.
One interesting thing is that Alex is playing 1 copy of Heat Fire over the hiding, so if it does want to retreat, it will have to actually pay its retreat cost. So maybe it looks like, is that what Alex is setting up? Maybe I was going to say like a retreat Aqua Return, but it doesn't look like it.
Well, no, because the only Primal Turbo would want energy on.
So I'm intrigued to see what Alex has got here, everyone. What do we think Alex is going to do here? Because I'm a bit research. Okay, research. So that means that Palkia isn't going. Does Alex play on the skate rope? Canceling Clone doesn't work on a Wash Energy. No. So, okay, let's see what Alex lines up here off this research then. 7 new trade. There's a boss's orders there.
Bit late.
I'm confused. Okay, look, Alex was going to attack there, but
yeah, but
has
maybe,
to retreat.
do you think maybe he's realised now? Oh, there's a Radiant Charizard, but he's already
used both his Primal Turbos,
and he's attached manually as well.
Okay, looks like that was an attack announcement, I believe, but oh no!
I think Alex didn't realise.
Oh no, Alex!
No!
Oh, it happens to everyone, folks.
Oh, Alex!
2-time regional winner in a row, back-to-back, undefeated on those regionals. It happens to us all.
Oh, no.
Alex, no. And he looks at the camera.
he knows exactly. He's been had.
Yeah. And that's what we were so confused. Like, what has Alex seen that we haven't? We're looking at, we're bringing up cards here. Like, what does Canceling Clone do again? Like, what? But no. And wow, that might have been the opening. Marlon knew that clutch Wash Energy find, and the game might be swinging straight back into his favour.
I think Marlon is pretty much going to run away with this right now. I mean, you just KO the Yveltal, right? And then what does Alex even do? In fact, is Alex just conceding? Yeah, I think Alex is conceding, and we're going to game 2. Oh dear, Alex.
Oh, it happens to us.
It does,
right?
yeah.
It does, especially when you got the cameras and the lights on you. Like a lot of time, people at home will be thinking, "Oh, what a silly mistake to make." I promise you now, when you were there with the cameras and the lights on, everything changes. It's not the same.
Like, you got so many eyes on you. There's people you don't necessarily realize it, but there's people watching here like live at the venue as well. Yeah. Like there's like all that sort of pressure with so many people looking at what you're doing. It's so easy to just have sort of have an oversight like that. But I'm sure Alex is gonna not make that mistake again, and is gonna be taking that forward into game 2 and 3 to try and come back in this best of 3 series.
No, 100%. And what's the best way to learn, people at home, is learn from your mistakes. I guarantee you now, Alex knows what Wash Energy does and won't be falling for that shenanigans ever again.
No, that's it. So I mean, if you're Marlon, right, you got to be feeling pretty happy about that. You managed to go 1-0 up already against a very, very accomplished player, and you're only one more game away from taking a win in round 1, and sort of that confidence boost that you get from an early win really helps you so much. Yeah,
and that's the sort of great thing, like when you play, I wouldn't say surprise card, because watching is probably not a surprise card, right? But when you play these sort of techs or includes in a best of 3, if you can steal game 1, you're in a good spot. Because even if you lose game 2, you're going first for game 3, and you have to imagine at that point, hopefully, between those 2 games, you can just manufacture 1 win. You've stolen the series. So it's definitely Marlon's game to lose now. Fair play.
And it's also, so actually thinking back, is there anything Alex could have actually done differently in that? So that, because maybe, retreating into another attacker could have worked, because as soon as we saw him like power up the Yveltal, you kind of like committed to it, right? And you would have needed a boss's orders to bring something else up to actually do any harm onto Marlon's board with that Yveltal.
Yeah, it's interesting, because the Power Rangers were already committed, and because there's no choice belt, I have seen on Stuttgart stream, one I believe, we saw another Alone in Vulpix piece, I think it's Lugia.
Right.
And they used Stoutland to get around that. Stoutland Power Rangers choice belt can actually reach over the top. But
that's an attacker without an ability, of course.
Yeah, exactly. But there was too many power force attached. That could be something to watch out for. Stoutland can be used. Probably one of the only ones you can use, actually.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, unless you want to attack with, well, I guess Raikou would also work. Amazing Rare Raikou could work into.
Oh yeah, Amazing Rare Raikou definitely works as well.
But again, you're not one-shotting then, so you kind of you just get one shot back because the attack does 160. So it's probably also not ideal.
Not the greatest. So. But yeah, I think you're right. Power Rangers were committed. So many Auroras committed. It would have been really hard for Alex to maneuver around there. So tough scenario there for Alex. But here we go. We are going on to game 2. And like I said, Alex Dow, 2-time regional winner. Won them both in a row without losing a single game. If anyone can pull this back, Alex Dow is high up on that list for me.
Yeah, and he starts off with that Radiant Charizard. Now, it's not really an ideal starter. It has a very hefty retreat cost. And
no. Not like this. Not like this.
Does he even have a supporter in his hand? Oh, he has a Serena.
Boss, a Serena boss, energy, Lugia V starting to collapse. Collapse is actually an interesting card in this matchup, right? Because you can remove your 2 prizes. You can actually limit subspace well damage attack as well, because it makes both players only have 4 Pokemon on the bench. But I think Collapse Stadium, we're going to need a lot more than Collapse Stadium for Alex to get back in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think the biggest problem for Alex is he went first and didn't get a Lugia down, right? So in a sense, he's kind of going second now, because Marlon's going to be able to get their attackers set up and going first before Alex does, which is kind of negates the whole point of going first.
Yeah, looking at Marlon's prizes, actually prized both copies of Raihan, so and a Greninja, and a Drizzle, and a Sobble, and a Quick Shooting.
Yeah,
so
that's not very nice, actually.
There's some dangerous prize cards there, but so if Alex can get in this game, those prizes for Marlon, I think, will really affect the mid to late game scenario. So if Alex can, try and maneuver his way back into there, maybe he can get back involved. But like you said, having effectively going second now, not the greatest.
No, and Alex's prizes, although probably not as bad, not great either. He's prized free energy, and 2 of them being Auroras, which are quite important.
Yeah, no, 2 Auroras in the prize is not really ideal. To be fair, though, that Charizard is beefy, 190 HP now, I believe, right?
180, I think.
180, sorry, with the Heat Fire. Interesting debate, actually. Some Lugia lists play the Hiding Dark, some play Heat Fire. What's the reasoning behind?
So, I guess it's a matter of, I'm trying to think. There was definitely a reason for it, because the extra 20 was relevant to protect against something, I think.
Right. Okay.
Or it might just be that you value being able to have an extra energy to attack with the Charizard more than you do giving the free retreat to the Yveltal as well. So, because obviously the Heat Fire engine, the way it works, it does still provide the fire cost to the Yveltal. It just obviously doesn't give it the 20 HP buff. And maybe you value having 5 options for fire energy more than you do having an extra option for a dark.
Yeah, I think whichever one you prioritise attacking with more, I guess.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that could be the way to go if people are starting to play stuff like Big Parasol, Wash Energy. Yveltal becomes a little bit less useful. Maybe the extra copy of Heatfire is... Oh, wow. There's a reset. That's a ton of energy in Alex's hand, though. I think you kind of have to just even stay in this game, right?
Yeah. Oh, Alex does have research now as well. So, yeah, you just have to research that all the way. Goodness gracious.
So now Alex has 1 copy of Aurora in his deck.
Oh, that's rough.
Attackers are going to be at they're going to be hard to find at this point. But let's see what Alex does here. We do see a quick ball. That Charizard's getting really close to attacking there.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way when you haven't got Primal Turbo, but it is getting there.
And in the without Primal Turbo and also with Marlon having taken no prizes, so actually
exactly.
5 energy cost.
The 5 energy swing, not something you see too often.
No.
He's getting ready.
Yeah, Alex thankfully for him, did find a quick ball, so was able to use that to both put an Arceus in a discard and get his first Lugia out. So Marlon's priority is going to be seeing if they can find a way to target down that Lugia and knock it out, which Alex, I'm sure, will be thinking about, and so we'll probably not bench anything else to make Marlon's life more difficult to achieve that. In fact, I think it makes it impossible.
No, it does.
Yeah, because 160 plus Choice Belt 190, or rather... Oh, it will be 180 plus Choice Belt 210, yeah. So as long as Alex only has 1 on the bench, he's safe. He'll live by 1.
Yeah, you have to imagine it'd probably be easier just to take the KO with Hydro Break with a Choice Belt, but I don't think... we just play a Choice Belt, but then you can't Melanie and Boss in the same turn. There is no copy of Escape Rope, so that isn't going to be...
And there's no Melanie in Marlon's list.
Oh, no Melanie, of course, actually. Yeah. So... Yeah, actually, that Power Gear attack, Hydro Break, something you see quite often used against...
Yeah, more often than you'd think, right? Yeah.
You use it against Duraludon as well. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be a little bit too much to ask because, I mean, the problem is if you wanted to attack with Hydro Break, you'd have to get another Palkia V out and, do it that way.
Yeah,
again, not impossible, though.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could bench another Palk. But then, does Marlon play in the Skate Rope? No, I don't think there'd be any way to push the Lugia into the active anyway, right?
There's only 1 boss in the list. Yeah, that's
one boss.
So, given that...
it'd be hard.
It would be hard, yeah, especially because to make it even possible to achieve that, you'd probably have to Irida right as part of your setup. Yeah. So it would have to be a very fortunate combination of cards, and we'll have to see if Marlon has it. I don't think that they do, but they are still setting up very well, and at the very least, they'll be able to KO this Radiant Charizard and make it not a threat, because, of course, the Lugia list don't tend to play any recovery cards, and Alex's list is no exception.
Yeah, and I think, Marlon, even if Marlon isn't going for the dream scenario of the Kelvin Lugia, he's still in a very fine position. But, equally said, though, all things considered, if that Palkia does stay in the active, it's not hard for Lugia to just get it straight back out of the active again. So, and that's the scary thing about Lugia into Palkia, is that Palkia used to be able to tank hits, right? Mew VMAX needs 3 mods to hit 280. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. And it's Lugia just goes bang, out of the way.
Yeah, you can see Marlon doing the maths there. Maybe considering going for a scoop up net. Now, the one thing that really hurts Marlon right now, the Radiant Greninja is in the prize card, so there's no way to use those energies to draw more cards and to set up the discard pile nicely for the Star Portal. Radiant Greninja is so vital for the early turns in this deck.
It provides that, it lets you get away with playing cards like Irida that don't let you draw cards, because you can just supplement the draw with, like we saw in the first game. I think there was a 3 scoop up net turn with the Greninja, right?
Yeah.
6 cards. But like I said, when it's in the prizes, you haven't got access to Shading to grab that heavy ball. It does slow the deck down.
Yeah, and I think Marlon did play the scoop up net to pick up the Drizzile and evolve the other Sobble into Drizzile. Going to go for Shady Dealings again. And we're going to have a look to see what it is that they go for. They can see the Choice Belt there. They could also go for Irida, or maybe even go for that Hisuian Heavy Ball, just to grab that Radiant Greninja out. But does go for the Irida.
And Irida just unlocks a lot of combos for this deck. Crazy. It was a good card when it was Karina, but when you factor in that you got Shady Dealings, you can just start doing unfathomable amount of combos. Irida just Palkia would have been good without Irida, right? It still would have been good.
The main strength of this deck is the fact that it has tutoring 4 days. You can just basically search everything you want, and the consistency was absolutely unparalleled.
Yeah.
And still is, in fact,
It is, and we can see, like you said, Palkia just had to adapt a little bit, So I just realised if Marlon wanted to go with the Palkia, then he actually has to bounce the Collapse Stadium as well.
Yeah. Right. So that was okay. I thought that was a Palkia Venus, but no, it was a Vulpix. So I think Marlon already realising that play is way too unlikely. Let's play it safe here. Let's get this Palkia powered up. Let's get myself an Irida, get myself set up, and just KO the Charizard. I'm completely fine with that.
Yeah, it's not a bad position for Marlon on any means. You just have to be worried that Alex could just explode and remove the Palkia from the active. Doesn't have a way to get the out the active.
Well, also, I think I realised I think we're being a little bit silly. I think Marlon already played a supporter that turn. Because otherwise you play the Irida, right, and you find the out. So
No, you are correct.
So So anyhow, so no KO actually from Marlon.
Wow, so what an interesting game. So now the advantage, you could argue, swings back over to Alex.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it depends on whether there's a boss's orders, right? Because if this Manaphy gets KO'd, you don't mind so much. It is a bit annoying because then Raikou can put in some more work, but I think you'd rather have a one prizer KO than your two prizer in terms of making it favourable for Alex tempo-wise.
But yeah, Alex definitely, if Alex can find a Serena or a boss's orders and try and get a KO here on a two-prize Pokemon, in a very fine position.
Especially because we know that the Charizard can be retreated because it has a retreat cost of 3 and the energies are all already there. So looks like Alex is actually going to go for a second Lugia, thinking that it might be the attacker to go for in this matchup as a capture energy goes flying.
So was that the manual attachment looking like?
Yeah, it looks like it.
You've got to be careful because there is still a collapsed stadium, so if...
Oh, that's a good point, actually, yeah.
If we're summoning Star, that's only going to be for one Archeops, so you're going to have to be careful. Obviously, you could use Punkaboo to remove it, but then that's effectively a bench spot as well at that point, so...
Yeah, that's... not 100% sure about this one. I mean, maybe Alex is sort of thinking of something that we're not aware of, but it seems like he might be restricting himself here a little bit.
Maybe he's not even going to... Oh, okay, so...
Alex, no, you can't do that, Alex. Nope.
Is a collapse stadium in play? Collapse stadium in play.
Oh no, he's done it again!
Alex, it's too early in the morning, Alex. Oh, he didn't have his Weetabix. That own collapse stadium coming back to bite you. It's one of those stadiums that it can easily happen, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, do you remember back in the day, a Parallel City? That was crazy, but Alex knows. Look at we love you, Alex, still. We love you, don't worry.
Like if definitely was providing an amazing show for us on round 1 here on the stream.
Definitely waking us up there. But, and you know, if he didn't use the capture energy, he could have got away with it. He could have put 2 down.
But I mean, let's not sugarcoat. This is actually this is a real struggle now for Alex because now he's only working with like 1 Primal Turbo per turn. He's just not going to have like the right tempo as much, and it looks like he's actually just going for the capture energy off the Primal Turbo onto the Radiant Charizard. Oh yeah, he's shaking his head.
Because Primal Turbo doesn't let you split the energy, right? It has to be to the same Pokemon.
Yeah, it does.
So
that is right.
Like put 1 to the Charizard, 1 to the Lugia. So yeah, I think when you have 1 Archeops, it just sort of really limits the sort of super explosiveness. That you can't just like instantly remove something from play. So be a bit more methodical.
Yeah.
But there we see the Charizard, 5 energy Charizard.
Combustion Blast, 230 after the reduction.
DTE,
yeah, but still more than enough to KO the Vulpix. And oh dear.
Yeah, this is rough the more I think about it. Cause can Lugia attack next turn? You go DT, but you won't be hitting for like major damage, right?
No. It's so Alex is playing 2 DT in list, so you could go DT something and then manual attach and attack the Lugia, but then that means you're not attaching enough powerful colors to KO the Palkia, right? So yeah, this is super rough for Alex right now. He's kind of unwittingly backed himself into a corner.
Yeah, unfortunately. Nice to see that the collapse staging was caught nice and fast though, so nothing gonna unruly happen there. But over to Marlon, you have to imagine Marlon's feeling, like I'm in a good spot here. Anytime Lugia only has 1 Archeops down, it really, like I said, limits the explosiveness, stops, Pokemon just coming out of nowhere. Like Yveltal is probably a non-factor at this point now. Yveltal will not be coming out.
No, definitely not. Not with any 1 Archeops out on the field.
Not with 1 Archeops. So Marlon, and this is where I think Palkia can really, put a lot of work in here, right?
Yeah.
It can now tank a hit. It means it can swing back. It's doing good damage. Obviously, Charizard gets removed from play.
And honestly, one thing you could even consider doing, you KO the Charizard first and foremost. Obviously, it's doing too much damage. You need to deal with it right now. But then maybe you just go for the Archeops, KO it, leave Alex 100%. With nothing, and then what? Alex is manual attaching 1 energy per turn.
Yeah, no, that's 100% what you do. I've done a lot of this testing with. We mentioned Demetrius Eaton earlier.
Yeah.
And anytime there's 1 Archeops in play, you go after that immediately.
Yeah.
Because at that point, they're just attaching 1 energy per turn.
Yeah.
The deck just crumbles at that point. So.
Yeah, but obviously deal with the Charizard first. It's got 5 energy. You don't want to leave that out. But now, you just really that Archeops is like very, very easy target for Marlon to go after. I guess the only problem being that Marlon does only play like the one boss's orders for Gus. There's no cross switches or anything like that, so maybe finding it might be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, you also don't mind just attacking the actor. I think at this point you have so much more control over the board state than your opponent does.
Yeah, Marlon's definitely in the driver's seat. Many different open-ended gameplay options for them to get this victory home. But over to Alex. Like I said, Alex, 2-time regional winner. If anyone can claw this back, I would say Alex is half that list for me. Starting term with a Primal Turbo, I believe, and I imagine this will be going to Lugia since it has been promoted.
Yes, so like we mentioned earlier, it has to be some combination of like double turbo plus something else and then a manual attached to get it powered up. But because of that restriction and what you can attach, it does mean that you're not really going to be able to get the attack of this turn. Unless, is Alex actually... Oh, interesting, okay. The DT might be in hand, perhaps?
Yes, yeah, I think that's the assumption to make.
Because I guess, if you're playing Choice Belt, you could go DT Choice Belt, I guess. But even then, I'm not sure if that would be enough. No, it wouldn't because of the reduction. Yeah,
that -20 is huge. Lugia's not really used to having to attack with that -20. You try your hardest not to attach it onto Lugia, but...
Yeah. Or maybe Alex thinking, okay, I'm actually just going to wait and not attack this turn and just make it so that next time I go for the one-shot, which is also completely valid as an option.
Oh, looks... okay, I thought the judges were communicating something there. But
yep. Some kind of discussion. So around the scoop up net?
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I don't think we... Not 100% sure what's going on there, but I think everything... Yeah, I think according to the judge, we have communication with the judges. Everything is okay. Looks like Alex just passed it over, like you said. So just opt into. I mean, at the end of the day, Alex is at the prize card advantage. If you can just get rid of this Palkia, you just have to take one more 2-prize knockout. I mean, it's possible. Like this Palkia isn't going to one-shot this Lugia. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
No, of course.
It's maybe not last chance saloon for Alex, but. It's definitely a bit. This would be the turn here. If Marlon can remove the Archeops now, then I think it's definitely game over. We do see Evolution Incense being searched out. I think
and this could just do it right here, right? Of course, because you only play one of boss, but you play the means to search it. So
it's been discarded, has it? I don't think I saw it on
the what? Sorry.
The boss was going to. I thought you were going to. He played Evolution Incense first. Okay, I thought I was going to grab a Shady Dealings and tell him I apologise.
The Shady Dealings might already be in hand.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was confused about. But
because it's not in the prize cards. It's the quick shooting that's in the prizes. Both the Shady Dealings are still in the deck, so that's completely fine. There's also another. I was going to say is it has to be Inteleon because both of those both the Sobbles have evolved to Drizzile, so Drizzile is an option, and even if it was a Sobble out, the third Drizzile is prized. But there goes the bench Palkia evolving into the Origin Form Palkia V-Star, and...
Wait, did they... I don't think they have a... Oh, they got Boss in hand!
Oh, is it in hand already?
Boss is in hand, yeah, it's the last card.
Surely...
Debating it.
Surely you go for it, right, at this point. You just KO the Archeops and, Alex can...
Yeah, you have to. I think, yes, you slam it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He has... I don't think they've supported this turn.
No.
They started the turn with a level ball.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I think that might be what they're debating if he's played supporter. I don't think the Iridir was played.
No, they did. So there is boss's orders.
Wow, what a turn!
Yes, I think this was the turn to do it, right? Alex went for the slightly riskier move, decided to just attach 2 powerful colors onto the Lugia, and so...
Which gets punished by... And let's not make no mistake about it. Marlon had exactly 1 turn to pull this off, right? Because if he did it next turn, the Lugia's attacking... So, wow, what a turn there for Marlon. Had it in hand already, and I was really confused as to why he didn't get a big Shade Dealings, but now it all makes sense. It was in hand.
Didn't even need to grab it, so, and now, if you're Alex, what do you do here? I mean, I guess you do this, right? You send up one Lugia, power up the other one, and just kind of hope for the best, but that Twin Energy isn't going to be helping anything. That does not work on Rulebox, or rather, it doesn't work on the Lugia, so it's only providing 1 colorless to it.
Yeah, Twin Energy only working for... Like I said,
for Pokemon that aren't Vs or GXs. So interestingly enough, it would work with EXs.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we'd think about.
Work on reagents as well.
Yes.
But I mean, the only thing here for Alex is that Palkias aren't going to be one-shot Lugias.
No.
It's not. Marlon isn't out the woods yet. But 2 Palkias set up. These Lugias still need to, without Choice Belt, need I think, one more powerful, which Alex now has to manually draw into at this point as well, right? But if Alex does, this game could get a little bit interesting.
Yeah, it could. I think, again, like we were just saying, the main restriction, though, is that you're limited to only one attachment per turn. So, you know, as soon as one of your attackers goes down, powering another one is going to take way, way too long. And I think that's the biggest struggle that Alex has right now.
I think one struggle I can see is that obviously Alex promotes this Lugia to try and tank a hit, right? The problem might be is that not only does Alex need to draw into the next powerful energy, that's a twin, I think.
Yeah, research.
But they also need to then get this Lugia out the active, because Alex is still winning 2 attacks, right? 2 Tempest dies for 2 one-shots.
Yeah.
But then he has to find that one copy of Burkeeper to then get that Lugia out the active, start swinging the next one. So a couple pieces of the puzzle for Alex to find here, but there is a puzzle that Alex can solve to win this game.
Yeah, and Alex doesn't necessarily know this, but Marlon has now used up like the one gusting option they have, right? So that Lugia is safe on the bench. There's not going to be another Buster's Orders happening. So there Marlon goes now with Big Shady, the Inteleon Shady Dealings to grab 2 trainers from the deck. Going to be grabbing what looks to be...
Was that Serena?
Is that a Serena? Oh, wait. It's that... Wait. Oh, yeah, there's one Serena. Oh, my... Okay, so 2 gusting options then.
I got really worried there for a second. I didn't see Serena when the deck listed, and I was like, oh, no. But no, there was a Serena, yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit far away from the other supporters on the screen for us here, guys.
It is.
That's why we missed that. So Serena Choice Belt, that is...
It's not enough to KO the Lugia, but you could KO either the Luminion or the Stoutland if you want to just, you know, go for a quick, easy prize or quick, easy 2 prizes.
Yeah, I think surely do you just hit the Lugia there? That's the only threat. So you hit it. I mean, it takes 2 prize cards back, but you just KO it, and then Alex has nothing to attack with at that point, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you just want to target down this Lugia as soon as possible, right? And then the sooner you KO it, the sooner you leave Alex with nothing to really do.
It looks like Marlon might be debating something.
I think...
just asking how much energy is on that Lugia.
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting to a dangerous amount there, Marlon. It's getting ready.
One more energy will do it. The twin energy only providing 1 colorless to it now, so it does still need 1 more. So Marlon is obviously factoring that into their decision-making. And there it is, Serena onto the Lugia. Yeah, this is exactly the right move. Just deal with the threat. You're not carrying it straight away, but it doesn't matter. As soon as this goes down, even if it's in 2 shots, you are absolutely golden. And
what this does here for Marlon, doesn't win the game this turn, but it slams the door shut for Alex to win. I don't see a way for Alex to win this game now, unfortunately. There was a time where he could have won. Find the powerful energy in combination with Birdkeeper, could have still won this game. But now, if Alex wants to attack with this, has to attack to this, which means no other threat gets developed. Marlon just attacks it again with the Power Kid to win. So.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely a very, very heads-up play here from Marlon, recognizing that just, you know, needing to take out the biggest threat is like the main thing here. Now, I mean, also interestingly enough for Alex or for Marlon, I actually don't think Alex has the other powerful colorless in hand just yet. So at least I don't see it. So gonna have to dig for it somehow. It's definitely in the deck, but doesn't quite have access to it right now. There's an Aurora Energy and a double turbo, it looks like. But going to have to go for an Ultra Ball to try and thin the hand, get something else out of the deck, and then just go for the dig.
Yeah, it's looking... Like I said, Alex did have that way to win this game, but it still required manually drawing into two one-ofs in the deck, and it doesn't look like has them. But doing everything you can now, thinning the deck as much as possible, maximizing the odds, taking everything you can out of the deck so you can try and hit what you need. It's a skill that over the course of a whole regional can just turn some maybe wins into wins, I think, if you can just thin as much as possible.
This is like a phrase I often like to use. It's stuff like this that separates the goods from the greats.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And Alex, in spite of the oversights earlier, Alex is doing everything he can to get himself back into this game.
Yeah, don't get it twisted, anyone at home. Alex is a top-tier world player, like one of the best players and a good friend as well. But like I said, it's early in the morning, the cameras are on, some mistakes will happen. We see a Marnie. Not a card we're actually seen used too often in this this round, but a real good disruption card and offers good draw for you as well.
Yes, indeed. 5 for Alex and 4 for Marlon. Now,
still no powerful energy though.
Oh,
or
dear.
any energy actually. I think.
Dear. Does that just?
And you can't put the Guru down for extra dig because it collapsed. That collapse has been in play. Can't put the Punkaboo down for that collapse either because collapse is in play. So
is that it?
I think that's it. I think that is it. Not even an energy off the Marnie. Like we did say, Marnie can be used as a draw supporter, but shuffling, well, I say shuffling, but getting 5 new cards isn't the greatest. And there I think we see the concession. Marlon Smith getting the first dub here, round 1 at Liverpool.
2-0, the underdog in this matchup, having been able to beat Alex in the first round, that's got to be a huge confidence booster for Marlon.
Yeah, 100%. If I had to sit down at a region, round 1, I saw Alex down thinking, you know what I mean? It's going to be an uphill struggle, but uphill struggle, I should say. But well done to Marlon getting that dub there. And that's the strength of Palkia. So open-ended and really consistent, you know. Might not have the most power level in regards, you know, it's not doing Tempest dive for 300 plus or whatever, but it's getting set up, it's attacking, and it's applying pressure. And sometimes that's all you need. And
let's not take away from Marlon as well. They played, we were pretty much spot on the whole time. They were making the right decisions. They were setting themselves up in a nice way. And, I think clearly we can see which side the more, blunders were coming from in that one. It's Marlon definitely a fully deserving winner. Huge congratulations to them.
Yeah, I think they played that pretty well. I didn't notice anything that I probably wouldn't have done. Had the boss turn when they needed it. Set up things right. Left themselves in a real good scenario. Because sometimes your opponent can make a mistake and you can't capitalise. That can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marlon was making sure, right, their little mistake there. Let me just make sure I close that door now. I'll take that win, assign the match slip, and off we go.
Yeah, and I think the sort of the key play indicating that was that boss on the Lugia. It would have been so easy to think, I could take 2 prizes. Right? Just going to boss up the Serena up, something else as well. But no, rather than recognizing there's no Archeops out. This is the turn for me to just damage Lugia. I don't KO it, but this essentially, like you said, shuts the door and wins me the game, because it means that even if I get KO'd, I just KO back, and then there's nothing for Alex to be able to attack with.
Yeah, and that's something that can happen. If you notice your opponent make an obvious mistake, you can be like, let me just win this game as fast as possible. Like you said, boss Luminio maybe take 2 prize cards now, and that could have that still leave the door open for Alex. Like you said, the window would have been open there for Alex to jump through. But well done to Marlon. Capitalized on that, played perfectly, I believe, and taking that Palkia to a 1-0 start. Could Palkia be that deck I said? There could be some spice going around. Could Palkia be that one?
The comeback king, as it were. The start of the previous format, it felt falling off a little bit, but now, potentially with the comeback here, Palkia and Teleon. Wow. I mean, it could happen.
It could happen, and we saw it. It's got stuff for the. It's got stuff for the meta. Got the wash energy, not just good for Yveltal, good against Lost Box. Stopping the Sableye, stuff like this. It's got the emergency jelly package, which is really good for just saying wait there for a second. You're paralyzed. Let me just catch up a little bit, and after all that, you've got the Shady Dealings engine, which is just really good for just keeping you consistent. And make no mistake about it, Palkia is still a very good deck. It might not be the most played or the most meta, but it's still very good.
and that consistency engine, I think, is what sort of sets it out apart from everything else. I mean, Lugia, although it is the most powerful, arguably the most powerful deck in format and the most popular, I wouldn't say it's the most consistent.
No.
It's one of those decks that you kind of trade off a little bit of that consistency for that power level that you get. And obviously, if you get the ideal setup, you're going to be steamrolling. But it's very easy for things to fall apart a little bit. Maybe you only get 1 Archeops in a discard pile. Maybe you miss your Lugia V-Star.
Yep.
There's a lot more, because there's kind of a lot less means of looking through the deck and sort of searching and drawing than in other decks. Sometimes you can just miss with Lugia.
No, 100%. Or you play 16 energy sometimes, or 15. That's inherently a little bit, not consistent. But I think one thing about Lugia is that it has to get rolling. It has to open the floodgates first. Until those floodgates are open, you're not really doing a lot.
No.
The 1 Archeops down limits you, and then once the Archeops is gone, you're doing nothing, which is kind of different to a deck like Palkia or Arceus, where you can just have 2 energy, a little bit of a bench. In Arceus' case, just get your stage 1 and you can star buff and you're instantly in the game. You have to sort of jump over that first hurdle with Lugia. And if you can, best deck in format. If you can't, very easy to beat.
Now, I think it's time for us to hear from our feature match winners. So let's throw it over to Marlon in the interview room to hear what they have to say.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Liverpool Regional 2023. I'm here joined by Marlon Smith, winner of the first round. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Off to a great start, a sweet 2-0 right away against Alex Dow, which is a really good player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you won 2-0. There were some mistakes by your opponent, but that's the first round. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts throughout the game? What about you walk me through?
Well, I was quite scared because it's the first time I've ever been on stream, and haven't really practiced too much with Palkia, and I've been playing a few, I guess, spicy cards. I have the 1-1 Alolan Vulpix line in there. So I was a little bit worried on how the deck would run, but it ran quite nicely. I didn't run into many issues at all, thankfully. Through my opponent unfortunately misplaying, I did manage to get the win But yeah, I quite enjoyed the game. It was very fun, and my deck ran nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you played it really well as well.
Thank
Every time
you.
there was an opening, you took the chance and swooped right in. Game 2, knocked out that single Archeops that was only in play. So that was the perfect play right there. So did you feel any different being on stream? You know, sometimes there's a pressure, the cameras and everything around.
When I first went up there, I was shaking quite a bit, admittedly. But as soon as like it got into the game, I was quite chill, to be honest. I completely forgot I was even on the stream, and yeah, it was quite a nice feeling being up there. Yeah.
Yes. So okay, let's talk a bit more about your deck, Pokémon Regional. It's a deck that sort of fell out of favor when Lugia came out, but now it seems there has to be a resurgence in it. What were your thoughts of bringing this deck in particular? Is that the deck you prefer?
Yeah, I just prefer Palkia because thanks to the Inteleon engine and Irida, you've got a lot of options for getting the cards you need, and having the ability to get the cards you need obviously helps with getting the cards in. That's what's best for that situation. And yeah, Palkia is kind of unfortunate it fell out of favour really, because I really like the deck still. It can be very aggressive early game, and that's what sort of edge it has on the decks. If you can set up a Palkia very early and get on to like the Lugia before they have a chance to even set up properly, it really shows its merit still.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, having the Inteleon engine, you always have access, as you mentioned, to any card. And Palkia is a pretty safe hitter. Just 2 energies dealing a lot of damage right away. A lot of the decks today have always this bench that are full, and you always have the option. How about the Alolan Vulpix? How about you walk me through what were your thoughts on bringing that Pokemon particularly?
Well, I've seen the Alolan Vulpix played in Lugia, and I've seen it before in Frostmoth box, and there's quite a few decks out there, such as Eternatus and Lugia itself, which struggle against the Alolan Vulpix with Water Wash Energy specifically. So in that game, for instance, the Water Rush Energy, even though I didn't use it on the Alolan Vulpix itself, I managed to use it on the Lugia, Palkia, and that sort of forced the, after KOing the Lugia, that forced the opponent into a bad situation, because I know how to Water Wash Energy on my Pokemon when he only had a Yveltal charged up, so it sort of led as a problem for him. But back to the Vulpix itself, the attack's just great. There's so many Pokemon such as Lugia with abilities, and if it forces them into another attacker, you can then sort of play that to your advantage.
Yeah. Well, Marlon seems to have all figured it out right now. I see you have already prepared a plan for various decks. What would be the worst matchup that you absolutely don't want to find today?
Probably Vikavolt, I would say, just because of the weakness and the item lock.
I feel like a lot of people would say that today, because Vikavolt is looming around. I think a bunch of people are playing it, but keep
and Eternatus as well. I've got a few friends in my circle who are playing Eternatus, so shout out to them. And Wheezing is sort of a bit problematic, because if they can get it down turn one and I have a bad hand, usually with no energy, I sort of just end up like bricking the game out. Absolutely. And it's not very fun.
Wheezing is a danger as well. There are some decks that here are trying to prey on abilities, which the metagame I think is very reliant on abilities right now, and both Wheezing and Vikavolt tries to hit a lot of the weaknesses. A lot of the Pokemon right now that are good, Lugia, as well, weak to Lightning, and that's going to be a trouble right away. A lot of damage, plus the item lock, very difficult to deal with. So how about you tell me a bit more about yourself? Where are you from? You come here with friends? Which number of regional is this for you?
So I've been to a few regionals before, and I went to Sheffield regionals, I believe, back in 2019, and I came here last year as well. In March, I believe it was.
Yes, well, 10 months ago.
So I've been to 3 regionals now.
Right.
And I come here with friends from my local game store. We based in Lowestoft, Suffolk.
Oh, right.
And our local game store, got quite a lot of us from there today. I would say about 15 of us. So
wow, there's a lot. There's about 700, more than 700 people here today.
Yeah,
it's going to be the biggest regional, ladies and gentlemen at home. There are other 700 hungry people that want to get as well. Well, you know what? I hope that you're going to do well as well for the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Once again, we hope to see you again on stream. Yeah. And best of luck for the rest of the day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back with round 2. Stick around.